The first thing that a lot of people don't realize they do, to your point, is they conflate their own value as a human being with their salary, with money. They think they are only worth the salary they make. And that is the great lie of unworthiness. We are so worthy, it's our birthright. We deserve to be on this earth. We're human, we're all equal in that way. And so,
Welcome to Just One Question with your host, Lion Flood. This podcast is brought to you by The Minority Report, where our goal is to inspire, educate, and empower you with cultural knowledge. We'll also have conversations dealing with social justice, mental health, and the all-around truth. So if you're bold enough to hear the truth, then you're listening to the right podcast. Let's find out what that one question is with your host, Lion Flood.
Hey, well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited to come and talk to you. I saw you back there in the green room jamming to the music. I saw it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we got a great guest coming back again, right? We had her on before, and some things just happened. Y'all know me, I'm authentic. I tell you y'all straight up how it is. Imperfection is not the best way to go. Things happen, right? But we work to improve those things and make things a little bit different. So we are going to be bringing back on Fan Your Flame, some financial talk, some strategies to get you going back with Diana Greschuk, who's going to be coming here, spilling the beans, talking about ways to help you manage, focus, get things better in your financial journey. So let's go ahead and get this show ready to get kicked off, and let's pay a little bills, right? Like we said, right? We're here to educate and inspire you. I don't care who you are, where you're at in your life. All of us can use just a little bit of that. These are things that we bring to people from underrepresented voices, right? People of BIPOC, minorities, anyone out there who is listening and wants to listen. I don't care who you are. We're bringing information to you. So without any further ado, let's bring on our guest, Diana. Give her a big round of applause. Woo, look at that. That's for you. That's me.
wow, what a welcome. Thank you. Thanks
So,
for having me.
yes, let's try to recreate that magic, right? Let me see that magic. Let's try to see if we can recreate a little bit of it. So, let's start off by bringing you on, and so you can talk and tell some of the guests a little bit about you, what you do, and what you have to offer. So, go ahead and just take the floor.
Sure. Thanks for having me. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Diana Greschuk. I'm a CPA in the state of California, and I'm also a trauma informed financial literacy coach. So, what does that mean? It means that I recognize that all of us have endured some kind of big T or little t trauma in our lives. And so sometimes that is around money. And so, what I like to do is create safe spaces to talk about money because it's something so many people are taught not to talk about. And so I want to democratize access to financial literacy. I want to teach it to people. We don't get it in our school curricula. It's not something that's formally taught in schools. So it's something that gets handed down from our parents, from our neighbors, from our loved ones, our friends. And what I want to do is break down all the barriers and talk about money for entrepreneurs, marginalized communities, those who really need the access to the wealth. So the other 99%.
There we go, right? And I love the way you frame that because it's something that I talk about often to say, hey, we aren't taught things with a manual in life. And just because we were taught by our parents, who were taught by their parents, our grandparents, and we take it back generational, it does not mean it was correct even when it was passed down. Or even if it was correct, it was correct for that time frame. Like a small example, I know that my grandfather would always tell me, save money, and that's the way to wealth or to build your future. Well, in today's time, that doesn't work, right? He would say, if you can't buy it with cash, you don't need it. Well, in today's time, that doesn't work. So I love the frame of that. So let's start knocking down some of these barriers, right? I think, and you can kind of jump in here too. I think that when you said we don't talk about money, it is such a connotation that money is what makes you in this culture where you should be at. If you have a certain amount, then you're put on a different pedestal, right? And if you're not, then you're not worth something. Why not? Maybe I can contribute in a different way, right? So, what do you think about that? Because I know we talked before. You said, "Hey, money should have the access to everyone," in that same kind of diconic mind frame. So, what are your thoughts on how to structure it so people can start that process of thinking correctly on it?
Yeah, thanks for asking. I think the first thing that a lot of people don't realize they do, to your point, is they conflate their own value as a human being with their salary, with money. They think they are only worth the salary they make. And that is the great lie of unworthiness. We are so worthy, it's our birthright. We deserve to be on this earth. We're human, we're all equal in that way. And so the first step to thinking about it is who you are, what your value is, does not equal what you make. It does not equal what you spend. You are so valuable inherently. You're priceless.
Yeah, I'd noticed something that's happening in some of my research and studying that is a big shift, right? So let's, I don't know, say maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, it was unheard of for people to speak about their salaries within the workplace. And now it is almost, people are saying you need to do it because that's going to open it up and give you kind of battlegrounds to go in for a raise, to step in and say, well, hey, wait a second, Tim or Janet or something is making this amount, and I've been here in this time frame, and people seem more open about it. I think about this, right? When we're going right back into the teachings of our parents teaching us, I know that a lot of society says that the amount of money that you're about to make, kind of like you were saying, your salary is reflecting on what you are. The amount of money you make also makes people feel like they are better than someone else. They are better because they drive a better vehicle. And I think the picture that society frames that says, this singer, this rapper, this artist has all of these vehicles and whatnot, that's not true. They don't own most of those. They're leasing it. They just don't tell you that. they, they're
Yeah.
investing their money somewhere else. So, what are some of the starting points to kind of get that mind frame working towards investments? And then I'll tell one way that I try to do it. But what do you think of starting someone out to get them towards investing?
Yeah, I think one of the things you mentioned earlier was around, the generations that came before us. And I think you're a family member that said you need to save money. You're not going to get anywhere unless you save. That used to work. But now, beyond saving, you actually need to invest. Just putting your money in a bank savings account isn't going to yield enough interest for that to grow over your lifetime. And so, really, it's this shift from saving to investing. And it's also this shift around, believing that you're worthy in your own birthright and you are the asset. You are worthy of being invested in. And so it becomes what you want to spend your money on, how you want to place your focus and attention on what's out there for you to build wealth. And like you said, this isn't just an episode of Cribs. Wealth is not what you spend, that's what people see. And so, what I love to ask, especially little kids, is does everyone who lives in a big mansion, are they rich? What does it mean? Because what true wealth is may not look like what you think it looks like. It may not look like having all those cars. Like you said, they might all be leased. And guess what? Cars aren't an asset that always appreciate. In fact, a lot of cars depreciate when you drive them off the lot. So is that really an investment?
Yeah. See, as soon as you leave, it's like you turn right back around and say, you know what, I don't want this anymore. They're going to take it back or they're going to buy it back, but not at what you just gave them. You're going to lose a lot. And the mindset, and I read this article and I was actually listening to another podcast in which he was speaking about it. There's a basketball player by the name of Jason Tatum. He plays for the Boston Celtics. Because I've read many articles, I can go back to Latrell Sprewell, who came up with those spinners that used to be back on the vehicles years ago, and now he's broke, right? Glenn Baby Davis for the Boston Celtics broke all these players because they don't. I think kind of like what you said, the trauma of money. No one taught them the proper way to use money, so they get money and they think money's just going to keep coming. I can go buy this $1 million car or whatever. But real quick, and then I'll let you jump in on this. Jason Tatum, mothers told him, and he states talked about this, that in his basketball first year, I think it's 2 years, but his first year or whenever it was, he was not able to spend any of his salary. He was only able to spend the money off of his endorsements that he got paid. So that way he started to learn to invest whatever his basketball salary was into other forms of platforms, real estate or whatever else he went in, he said, but his endorsements went there, right? So that she said that mindset came from when her teaching him when he was young. Kind of like you said, you asked a kid about it, right? As a young, what are you going to do about that? But it also is that trauma. So what do you mean by trauma from people dealing with money? What does that envision for that person listening right now? How can they know, yeah, I was traumatized by money?
Yeah, so a lot of people seem to equate trauma with big things like war or accidents. But sometimes trauma is just when you're not getting your needs met. Let's say, as a kid, you had an emotional need and your parent wasn't around. So if you're not getting your needs met, your body can have a trauma response. The trauma isn't the event itself, it's the response that your body has. It's the meaning that your mind makes from that event of, oh, my parents don't want to spend time with me. I'm not good enough. Maybe if I work harder, then they'll want to spend time with me. Maybe if I was a better person, then they would be home with me. And so, how your body processes that event, that's not even a war. That's not an accident. That's just a seemingly harmless thing that happens one day because a kid has to go to daycare. But you never know what they're processing and what they're making meaning from that as. Do you know what I'm saying? So when you think about trauma, we all have it. There's no stigma attached to that either. That is a normal human response when you have a need. If you're thirsty and someone withholds water from you, that can cause a trauma response. So, same with money. You can have traumas around your parents ran out of money. And so, you guys had to live on food stamps or whatever it was. And it created beliefs and structures in your mind around your worthiness as a person or, what you could do in life. And that became your example.
Yeah, man. As we're talking about this, I'm flashing back to my childhood, and I'm thinking about things and it's like setting in so much. And I give a quick story of how I relate to that, right? And most people and my listeners know about this because I've talked about it openly, and I'm still in that process of writing a book for it, and I've said this. So I grew up in two worlds, in a sense. I always say, one, I grew up very underprivileged in a whew, bad economy world in the hood, food stamps, kind of like that. And then there's a part of my life where it shifted, but I also think they weren't prepared for it. So my grandparents um, got an injury at work and lawsuit and settlement, all that happened. Then he was awarded $1 million, right? Now at the time, I didn't know anything about how money got shifted and everything. So $1 million, but they went out and bought all brand new cars for children and everything. And he bought a 19. He always liked Mercedes, but a 1920s Mercedes Benz Classic. Sometimes spend all that money. Of course, as a kid, we're like, yes, we're getting all this stuff. A couple years later, where is it? It's gone, right? And so, we see that, and it's traumatic, and I relate to exactly what you're saying about that. And for the listeners right now, you won't be able to see this, but you can go back and watch the video because I have the show notes where the video will be linked to. But I'm looking at Diana's web page. Okay, let's go to this web page because I was looking at it, and here's a couple of reasons that you want to work with her, right? So we're going to give you that information of where you can find, reach out to her, okay? But I go to her free resources page, and she has money, more freebies, a money date handbook. Make sure you go take a look at it, and we'll tell you the website here in just a second. But I'm looking at her money playlist. What? What?
Yep.
Okay, break it down for us. What is this money playlist? Is it songs that have money relations to it, or what is this?
I think a lot of money is a mindset, it's a vibe. And all of these songs on this list make me shake my booty. Like, every single one makes me have this empowered feeling about money. And
Yes.
it's not even about the money. When you look at so much of these songs, the lyrics, the vibe, money can't buy you that vibe. That is
Mm,
something that's an inside job. That's your inner environment. And that's really what I teach about money, is that money is an inside job, your relationship with money. It doesn't have to be the villain in your story. It can be the hero. It can be a
yeah.
tool that helps you, and it's not all about money.
Man. Okay, so let me tell us a couple of names on this list, ladies and gentlemen, because you want to go to the website just to look at this, right? We got Donna Summer, Jesse J, Pink, Dire Straits, Flying Lizards. Haven't heard of those ones. Cindy Lauper, Notorious Big, ABBA. I love ABBA. Madonna, ODB. Look, ladies and gentlemen, go to it. It's called fanyourflame.com, but you got to put hyphens in between. So fan hyphen your hyphen flame.com, right? So now tell the listeners about your coaching programs, right? What is that kind of shift people from? Because I know you were saying something before when we talked. Hey, you can't come to me when you're like in the emergency room and you're already cut and bleed. We need to start this process before. So guide us through that for someone who's listening to say, you know what, I need to message and reach out to her and, you know, get her to start to help me.
Yeah, thank you. So, one of the services I offer is a deep dive emergency room financial session, because so many times, people come to me, they say, Diana, I want to start investing. I need to save for retirement. What do I do? So then we take a look at their current financial snapshot, otherwise known as, their personal financial statements, what they have, what they own, what they owe, what they make, what they spend. And when we look at that picture, that's like they're coming to me wanting to talk about investing in retirement, but they're bleeding on the table. I can't talk about retirement and, preventative health to somebody who's bleeding out on my table. If you are amassing debt, if your income is not big enough to cover your expenses, then we have a bigger problem. So, what you think you wanted to come talk to me about, we can't deal with that yet. We got to sew you up. We got to get you in a state where you're not bleeding out on the table, and we can look at your financial health in a holistic way. And that's what it's about. So a deep dive session is, look, I know my bills are a lot. I know I'm not making enough money. I know I've got a lot of credit card debt. So then come to me, let's make a plan. With a deep dive session, you walk away with 3 or 4 takeaways that you can start changing that day. And it truly will help turn things around quickly.
Yeah, it's the small steps, right? The small bites. Instead of looking at this big steak, right? You don't take a steak and eat it all at once. Or if you're not a meat eater or whatever your food is, you cut it up in smaller bites until you get to that point. And you've also got to come to a realization. If you're listening to this, you got to come to a realization is to really get to that point where you say, I need help. I need to reach out to a coach like that. And I know I want more. I just don't know how to get it. Right. And that's what these coaches and people who are in the professions like you are in are like offering them. Say, hey, look, it's not as bad as you think it is. All we got to do is cut back a few things, right? Maybe spend a little less hair, and they just didn't even know it or understand it. So now here's that listener that just calls you up and or messages you or gets in touch with you, and you talk to them, and then they say, you know what, that's some great advice. I want to start. Do you have a course? Do you have something I can keep kind of talking with you on? It's not just you tell me something and you leave me alone, and now I'm dealing with it for another year on my own, right? You're kind of guiding them through it, right?
Absolutely. So I have the deep dive session. That's just a one and done. But there's also group courses. I offer a money confidence course. I offer a 4 week and a 12-week course. And those really look at the inner work, the mindset work, beyond the outer work of actually getting your finances in order. When we're looking at the money habits that you have, that comes from beliefs that were formed at a very young age. And those habits are just you on autopilot doing the same thing. And so part of getting at the root of the problem is not just treating the symptoms, it's not treating those money habits, it's going to the cause of those money habits. And that's what we do in those courses. I've also got coaching packages. So you can work with me like, think of it like a fitness trainer, but you can work with me for a period of time. So for a 3, 6, 9 month engagement, and really, that's when we get to do the good work together. Working with me just once isn't going to change things overnight. It's like your finances aren't Amazon Prime. It doesn't come the next day. Okay. It comes with hard work and consistency and habits that you build. So, absolutely, there's a lot of different sizes that fit all to work with me.
Right, and I absolutely love that. And I've really through the years I've learned, right, that we need assistance, coaching. We Because it's like in sports, we can just get on a team and we don't know what to do, but the coach is structuring you and helping you out. And I remember hearing a time where I think it was Jim Carrey. He said, "If you aren't willing to redefine your life for 1 year, right, just 1 year, uh, get the money, finances in order, stop purchasing X, Y, or Z for 1 year, then you're not really invested in growing. You're more concerned about what people think about you, right? Oh man, I can't let them see me go from a Mercedes to a Ford, whatever truck. You're more concerned about the imagery instead of thinking about 10 years from now. And if you're not thinking about the future with inflation, with the prices of things, you need to double check yourself, right? Get a coach, get in touch with Diana, anyone, and maybe if you can't do it yourself, you can recommend someone or something, right? What are some last words that you want to reach out to someone to say, hey, this is why you need this. This is the direction, or what is anything else you want to tell the people that's listening?
Yeah. So when you think about like if you were to go see a personal trainer, right, to get your fitness going, you would take a look in the mirror, you would weigh yourself, you would know where you are right now, and you would be fed up. You would be ready and willing to change. So, what I'm talking about is having a moment with yourself when you get financially naked with yourself. You look in that mirror and you realize, I can't keep going like this. This is not okay. I need to make change. And to your point, I need to do it for at least a year. It needs to be sustainable. I need to see results. So, getting financially naked will allow you to get to that mindset in place where you're ready and willing to make change. Because I can't drag you along on the journey with you kicking and screaming behind me. You're not going to do the work that way. This is all on you. If you want to change your financial situation, then that's on you because no one's going to do it for you. Because I got news for you, if you can't manage $1,000 in your pocket, if you get $20,000, you're not going to be able to manage that either. Having the skills to manage wealth doesn't come with getting more wealth. You need to get educated and build the habits, and then that helps you get to a place where you can accumulate wealth and maintain it and sustain it.
I wholeheartedly agree, and that's the point that my was speaking about when I was telling my parents and so forth, because we never had that money, and then all of a sudden that money came from that the settlement and everything, and it was just like, let's just go spend, spend, spend. As a kid, I'm just like happy, yes, let's buy all this stuff, but they were never shown that. So man, this is reaching out to so many people, and I know, especially now with the holidays coming, and I say this is only my opinion. Don't go broke trying to show someone that you love them with a gift. Don't get over your head trying to show someone that I need to get a gift, or if that's what you believe in, or whatever it is. You can show in so many different ways, right? Because you have to, it takes a moment to spend it, and then a long time to rebuild it. In statistics I read somewhere, they said most Americans can't cover a $400 um, emergency or something if it was to happen right now. That's crazy.
Yeah. And
Oh
if
my
I may
goodness.
offer a great gift
Yeah,
idea, if you
yeah.
guys have kids in your lives, I was shocked to find out my fiance's kids didn't have wallets. I didn't even wait for the
Oh,
holidays. I went out and I got the best Pokemon wallet and dog wallet that money could buy, super cheap.
wow.
And the thing is it created in them, now they want something to put in the wallet. Now they want to learn about how to get more money. You know, last
Mm,
time we talked, Lion, we were talking about book bucks. And so my
yeah,
fiance's kids could read a book and earn book bucks, sort of like an allowance, but really
sure.
it's, you got to read a book to get your dollars and then you can spend the dollars how you want. Now they have a wallet to put the money
Put
in.
them in.
And that makes
Yeah,
it real and it makes them really want to learn about earning money, saving money, growing money. And I'm so excited for that journey for them. And it's a cheap wallet. What a
cheap
gift.
little thing. Yeah, to show them to start them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so for those who don't know, when we spoke the first time, we were talking about this, and I was talking about how we pay our son in monopoly money, right? And so he gets that, but then it translates into if we're going out to the store and then he wants something, and he has to tell us how much money he has, right? So it's holding him accountable. And I don't know if I mentioned this the last time, but also what we do is you can get these on Amazon or some other little stores. It's a great little gift. We got him a little ATM machine, and it holds the actual money in there. And he has a card that goes in his wallet, and he puts it inside the machine, and it tells him how much money he has, and he can withdraw it. But we tell him, if you do that, don't come to us later saying, "I spent it on bubblegum at school." All right, but it's a little thing. But we actually hold the card and then we give it to him so he can so he just doesn't take it out willy nilly. but
Yeah, but it's a great opportunity to educate your son around wants versus needs, like, do you
yes,
need the new Pokemon pack? It's an investment because they'll appreciate and value. Or do you
yeah,
just want some bubble gum and that's just like a doodad, that's a sunk cost that goes away. And so
yeah.
wants versus needs, you're teaching kids with everything.
Yeah, it's a thing that we always talk about generational wealth. We want to, give our kids something different. And I hear this saying often, and whenever I hear someone say it, I say it a little bit differently. When people say, "I want to give my kids everything that I didn't have or I didn't get growing up," and I say, "No, don't do that." I say, teach them everything that you weren't taught. Teach them the things that you know now to help them not go through the struggles. Because if you just give it to them, they don't see no value in it. They lose it. But if you sit down and teach them, hey, you know, like I was talking to some family members last night. We had a gathering last night, real quick, and I tell this story. And I was showing them. I said, take 1% of your um, income that's coming in each month and put towards an investment of something. Take 1% and stack that. If you just use $2,000 as an example, $4,000, whatever, 1%. So take $20 and then double it each month. So 1% this month, next month take 2%, and then keep on going. See how much you save. And then I told him that a couple of months ago, and he had a car issue. Our youngest kid, he had a car issue, and he called up. He said, "I don't know what to do with this car, and the brakes or something was going bad." Told him to go to the mechanic. Don't what to say. He went there. They told him a cost. He paid for it, and he came back to us last night, and he said, "I would have panicked, months ago. I would have didn't know what to do. I would have called y'all." And I said, "Now you just rinse, wash, and repeat. Start that process again to save for the emergency fund."
That's right. That plan
Yeah.
B emergency fund for the win every time.
Yes, yes. So thank you for coming on. Tell everyone, where can they find you? How can they reach out? Any offers you may be telling them? What website? Its floor is yours at this moment. Go for it.
Awesome. Thanks, Lion. So you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Fan Your Flame LLC. And you can find my website. I know Lion just went through it with you guys, fan-your-flame.com. And you can also find me on LinkedIn too. You can find me just about anywhere. So I'm happy to work with anyone that has questions. I've got a public Facebook group, and it's a community I'm building too. So it's free. You can just join, ask questions, add posts, be in community with people that want to learn about finances and speak it fluently as well.
Yeah.
Practice.
Love it. And what's that community? Because I'm about to jump on there and look for it right now as we speak. What the Facebook one? Does that one have a general link?
Yes, it is called Fan Your Flame at the Financial Literacy Fire Pit with Diana Greschuk. So if you search
Ooh.
Fan Your Flame, Financial Literacy Fire Pit, and Diana, you're going to find it and you're going to find me.
Okay. Perfect. I got it. I'm going to go and join that right now. And I actually just went and signed up for the one of the money date handbook freebie.
Yeah,
So I
that's
guess
my
I'm looking at
newest
that.
freebie. I'm so excited because part of getting financially naked is figuring out where all your money is. So going on a money date and having this worksheet helps you write down, okay, these are all the bank account balances I have. These are all the credit card balances I
Oh.
have. This is where I'm spending my money. This is where I'm making it. And once you have it all in one place, you'll be surprised at the dots you can connect just on your own financial status to then be able to
Yes.
take next steps. So take that money date handbook. It is free. It's not Excel. It's not scary. It makes it really approachable, and take yourself on a money date.
Oh, I love it. That's why I'm going to go on a money date. And I'm going to tell you, for a second, when you were talking about something, I got just a little scared because the last time I heard the two words financial and naked together, it wasn't a good scene for me. I was like, hold on, officer. No, I didn't know about that. No, but no, I'm kidding. Okay. So, man, but do it, ladies and gentlemen. Get a handbook, right? Get something in front of you. I know some people learn different, and that's another thing that we've talked about in the past, right? You got to find a way that you learn, right? Some people are audio learners, kinetic, visual. They need a template, right? Get it if that's what you need. You use the workbook, but you got to put in the effort. So hold on for me for one moment. Let me go ahead and wrap this show up, and then I'm gonna be right back with you. Okay? Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming to another episode of J1Q. Just one question. What's your question, right? How am I going to get the steps together for me to work to build my financial freedom? Well, it starts today. Don't wait for the new year. Don't wait for the resolutions, right? You got to put that effort in today. So I appreciate each and every one of you for coming on and listening. And as I always say, keep living while you are alive.
Thank you for listening to Just One Question. I know you enjoyed the show because you made it this far. If you want to hear more, subscribe, share, and don't forget to give us a 5-star review. Now, what's your one question?